Hello folks, Jerry here and welcome back to a bad bag drop, and I have not this in a while, but basically back in Racing Hours, as very few of you might remember, I had a series called The Racing Hours News, and basically what I did was, talk about the new stuff that went on in Racing Hours. It was a weekly thing and I kind of want to do it in top drives again, mainly because, I don't know, I just feel like it might connect me with the community or something, and I need views so I can put gas in my car, but that's besides the point. So basically a few hours ago, I believe, there was a list of changes to certain cars in top drives. I believe there were 33 changes, some of them very minor, only they're gonna tweak a year by like one, or change a picture of a certain car, and we're gonna go through all of that. But what we're gonna start off with, there is basically, in my opinion, only like two huge changes, so we're gonna talk about them the most. But first of all, let's talk about some changes to some of the legendary cars. So first of all, the Bugatti Veyron Super Sport had its top speed changed from 258 miles an hour to 267 miles an hour, making it basically the fastest car in the game, which was previously the Bugatti Chiron. Another car which was tweaked is the Audi R8 V10 Plus thing, and basically what happened is there was a change to that car a few months ago, which basically changed the mid-range from being really good to pretty bad, and with this update what's gonna happen is the mid-range of the Audi is gonna be somewhere in between, so it's still gonna be semi-useful, but it's not gonna be incredibly overpowered, which, yeah, that's probably for the best. Now the third and final legendary is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, which had its 0 to 60 time changed from 3.2 to 3.1. Also, I know that this is not a legendary car, but I still thought it would probably be the best to actually, just talk about it in this small segment. The Jaguar XJ, which is an epic price car, had its top speed corrected from 220 miles an hour to 212. So it's going to be slightly, worse on test balls, but we are yet to see that car in the game, so we'll see about that. So there's also going to be two different, ride height changes, and one of them is pretty major, and the other one, who really cares, honestly. And the minor one is the RQ16 Mazda RX8, which was previously medium. Now it's gonna be low, and that makes that car completely useless. There are better versions of the RX8 in the game, not to mention the RQ16 Mazda MX-5 Yota or whatever it is. That thing is just a beast. 5.2 and fucking 94 when maxed. Holy shit. Now for the biggest change, I think we all agree that the Camaro Z28, the one that you get in the campaign, the RQ26 one, that's now gonna be a low ride height car, and that's pretty huge, because previously, when you completed the campaign, obviously the best car that you got out of it was the 12C, and obviously as far as epics go, it was the Camaro Z28, which is still gonna be the case. However, it's now basically gonna be not as useful, because previously it was one of the best epic all-rounders in the game, and now it's gonna be pretty bad on city streets. So you're basically gonna have to go ahead and tweak, your hand if you wanna, compete in like some city streets themed epic events or something. So basically, with that ride height change, those two being the only two official ones, I feel like there's also some cars which need to be tweaked in that regard. Basically, like the older Camaro, that's medium for some reason, that really fucking surprised me. There's also the Audi TT, I think definitely should be a low ride height car, considering some of the other ones are. The Jaguar, the Trans Am one that we're gonna talk about in a moment, should be medium. I mean, it's gonna be nerfed now, so it's probably gonna have its RQ lowered a little bit, but we'll discuss that later. And there are also some other cars that need to be tweaked, but obviously, we cannot they cannot basically perfect everything in like one patch, I guess, but it is a very good step. Like 33 cars, that's a lot. Okay, now let's talk about the XJS Trans Am, the Jaguar. Its RQ is currently 15, and it is one of the better drag cars for C-Class, and it's gonna have slick tires, which makes that car a bit worse. Like, I would also expect with this update that the RQ of this car is gonna be lowered, probably to 14. I wish they kept the performance tires, because it's not like it was an amazing car before, but now I believe it's definitely going down a class. Speaking of Jaguars, the XJRS, I think, and the XJRS Convertible will have the performance figures basically switched. Not the performance figures, just the mid-range, because previously the Convertible had really good mid-range, and the GT was pretty bad. Now I'm happy about this because I have the GT, but obviously the F-Type, the RQ25 one, is still gonna destroy them in drag races. So with this update, we're also gonna have a few cars that are gonna change its, well, drive type, I think it's what it's called. But basically, there's gonna be two off-roaders that will now be four-wheel drive, and those will be the Cadillac Escalade and the Chevy Silverado. And basically, I believe that the Escalade should definitely be better. I think it's definitely gonna be up to at least super rare, because, you know, it really had good 0 to 60, and, you know, obviously with the change to four-wheel drive, it will now be really good for, you know, drag races, off-road ones anyway. And as far as the Silverado goes, I don't know, it really does not have good stats. It will definitely be better now, maybe even useful, but I'm not sure if it'll actually change the class, because right now it's RQ12, and that's kind of high for it as it is, so it's probably gonna be like RQ13 or 14 when it's converted to four-wheel drive. Now we also have two ultra rare cars which are now being switched to four-wheel drive. So first is quite obviously an error. The Mazda 6 MPS was supposed to be four-wheel drive. For some reason it was front-wheel drive, so that's being fixed now. So I mean, currently it's at RQ19, and I highly doubt it's gonna switch class. It's probably gonna be like RQ20 or something like that. Probably not higher than RQ21. Now the car which is likely gonna benefit more from you know, this change to four-wheel drive has to be the BMW 335D, which is now gonna be one of, I'm not sure how many four-wheel drive BMWs there actually are in the game, but it's gonna, I mean, its stats will be pretty impressive, so it might even, you know, become an epic. I mean, what is it, like 4.5 seconds to 60 and 79 grip. So, I mean, that's basically very similar to stats of some of the RQ23 epic Audis, so we're gonna see if it actually changes the class. Now, I did mention earlier that there were actually like two huge changes, in my opinion, of the actual dynamic of the game. And well, we already talked about the Z28. However, I think that the other one, which people for the most part overlooked, was the Suzuki Jimny, which now changed the year from 1981 to 2007, and that basically means that there's gonna be a huge gap between off-roaders in, you know, the 80s. So basically, I believe that there's like one Nissan Patrol, excuse me, the Vauxhall Frontera, and another, the Chevrolet, the RQ8 thing that you get at the start, the Blazer. I think it's the Blazer. So basically, those three are gonna be the only SUVs, and then you're gonna have the prize cars, which are obviously far superior, and it's gonna be a huge pain in the ass to actually compete against them. So I do hope that with, you know, like the next update, they actually bring, you know, some good 80s off-roaders that are four-wheel drive, maybe even some SUVs. I think that the Dodge is gonna come in the next update. I heard something about that. But yeah, like obviously the 959, the Audi Quattro, and the MG Metro will just kick some serious ass. Like, I wish I had those, but obviously, you know, my garage nowhere good enough for me to actually, you know, be in the top 8 in those events. So I'm hoping there won't be any drag themed 80s off-road events. That would suck. So I'm not sure why I didn't include these two when talking about the legendary cars earlier. However, there's gonna be basically a weight change to two of the McLarens. The 675 LT and the 650 will now be around 100 kilos heavier. However, it really shouldn't make that much of an impact. The 12C that most of us got is still gonna be inferior to those. So not really that much of a difference. However, 100 kilos is, quite a bit for some cars. Next up, we basically don't have any game-changing news left, I would say. Like, apparently the 2016 Ford Ranger is now being branded as a Great Britain car instead of a US one. However, when I actually looked in the game, it was already branded as, a GB car, so I really have no idea if they actually just fixed that before I got to it, but whatever. The 1983 Mazda RX8, which is actually a pretty solid car, is now gonna, have correct, the width? Yeah. Did not pronounce that correctly, but that's gonna be changed for that car. The Mazda Autozam and the MG MGC will now be classified as coupes, and the prize car Hummer is now gonna have 242 horsepower and 242 pound-feet of torque. But it's not gonna make a difference, it says so in the patch notes. Also, the 2016 Cadillac CTS is now gonna be 1.83 meters wide, so there's that, but there really weren't enough, width-themed events to, basically make a huge difference, at least not for the CTS, which, let's face it, it's not a very used car. Now, as far as the other cars go, there's not really that much to say about them. Some of them will basically have their gears switched just slightly. Obviously, the Gemini was the only, hugely major one. I mean, the Suzuki Swift is now gonna go from the 2000s into 2010s, but I mean, I saw that car being used a bit, but it's not gonna really be game changing. And also, here's basically all the cars that are gonna have their picture changed, so that's really not gonna have a huge effect on the game. However, it will be pretty cool to see, what kind of pictures the developer choose. And with that was basically this episode of Top Drives News. Please let me know, did you enjoy it? Do you want to see more videos like this? Should I change the format? If so, should I make, what changes should I make in particular? So, thank you guys for watching. My name is Jerry, and I'll see you in the next episode of probably Top Drives.